Well, it turns out there's absolute chaos coming out of Rockstar the last few days. We've got leaks alleging that a bunch of projects have been cancelled. We have got Red Dead Online essentially being killed. You can still log into it, but they are essentially ceasing. And quite a few other things from Rockstar, as also Take-Two are going after modders. This time, a super popular modder. Quite an unfortunate situation. So, yeah, it's rough, and certainly there's community feeling betrayed here.
Yeah, because it's, as you kind of expect from the financial interest involved, it is all, like, everything is blood for the blood god, GTA 6. Anything that's not pumping out the most money, like your remasters, your Red Dead Online, which is a smaller kind of return rate than GTA Online, gone, because it's just not making enough money.
Because Red Dead Online was basically not getting content, and people kind of had expected content.
Yeah, they promised it, yeah.
Yeah, they promised it. It seemed like they knew it was off to a slowish start, but they wanted to do a lot more, and people just realized, well, there's no content. So, the plan arose to hold a funeral in-game as a sort of protest about the whole thing. The Save Red Dead Online sort of hashtag appears. They even got a comment from Strauss Zelnick in May. I think that's quite interesting. So Strauss said, I've heard the frustration. It's flattering that they want more content, and more will be said by Rockstar in due time. True, more would be said by Rockstar. Probably not what they wanted to hear, though. A Rockstar PR later just clarified that this was solely referring to the online servers, and that any future updates would be up to Rockstar. But we've just found out 2 days after the funeral was planned, well, it turned out the funeral was necessary because Rockstar posted a community update. So, this update basically just said, GTA, money, money, money me now, money please.
Yeah, the favorite child gets all the stuff?
Yes. So, that's essentially what happened. So, there's a big raft of updates coming from GTA Online. They're increasing the rewards for various jobs in the game and from activities, and also implementing a bunch of quality of life features that people have been demanding. All of this, yeah, all that makes sense. So GTA Online is big with its role-playing scene, big for its general hijinks, and there's a fair amount of stuff to do. It evidently is a game that converts super well because people just buy those shark cards. The sales are absolutely insane. As for Red Dead Online, well, what they said was they thanked people for their continued support and dedication. Over the past few years, we've been steadily moving more development resources towards the next entry in the Grand Theft Auto series, understanding that more than ever they need to exceed people's expectations. And then they tried to, I suppose, flower up something very boring. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there is content, of course, already in Red Dead Online, and they said that they will continue to showcase these unique additions through monthly events as we move forward. So that's basically what they're doing. There are no major themed content updates for the game. There's going to be quality of life, stability, and bug fixes. The content updates will be based on the existing modes or the new delivery quests across the map. But like the actual big, chunky new content that people would actually get excited about, no.
Yeah, the game is now effectively in managed decline.
That's exactly it.
Here you go. We'll keep it alive. We'll keep our obligations there, but sorry, we have to move everyone to GTA 6 because I suppose they want it out before 2030 at this rate.
Yeah, and then of course, meanwhile, GTA Online is almost certainly making more money than Red Dead, right? So
that's
do GTA Online.
Yeah, at any point in time you look at any statistic across the entire internet, you'll see that GTA Online is printing money for them. Absolutely.
Yeah, so like Red Dead 2, that's 44 million sales worldwide for GTA 5.
Quite disappointing.
So GTA 5 sold 5 million copies between February and March of this year.
Jesus.
Mad. That hit 165 million, so they are probably way over 165 million sales of that game now, which is just wild. But then, copies have been given away on Epic and stuff like that. There's the standalone GTA Online as well. Now, it's the sort of thing where with Red Dead Online, I think they wanted to replicate the success of GTA Online, and I think they knew that there was always going to be one inherent limitation, and that's just less wacky, crazy shit, because the game is like so much more... Well, it's immersive, it's themed to its period, so it's a bit harder to... it's a bit harder to do I think the things that would convert well, right, content-wise, and it's kind of the inherent like wackiness the GTA Online,
Yeah.
I think, is able to get. So they don't have that, but maybe they did think that by being slower paced, more immersive, takes more time to do things, there'd be an increased value in, you know, like items and that kind of thing, and maybe they thought it could convert well there. But ultimately, we've just seen it doesn't convert.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think GTA Online is definitely lightning in a bottle. That was absolutely something that was like a complete, you know, because they clearly didn't super intend for it at the time. It clearly exploded because people really vibe with the world of GTA and how that feels to play and all the crazy stuff you can do. All like I guess basically people like the idea of crime, and in that real world sense. So it's obviously like they went to see if they could have lightning strike twice, and obviously, you know, I don't want to say obviously it wasn't going to happen. It seemed to be a decent enough shot, but it was like, maybe you could do it with GTA 6, but not with a different genre entirely.
Yeah, and ultimately you look at how captive the audience that they have is, and, you know, they drop a new expansion, you need to spend a whole bunch of in-game cash to, like, do the new stuff, get the new thing from the expansion. You can do that via, or earn that, of course, with the heists and the stuff in-game, or just buy a Megalodon shark pack, or a thing of shark cards, get a whole bunch of in-game money, then do the thing, right? So basically the funnel for GTA Online is well optimized. It already works. It evidently converts better. Probably converts better at most stages of the funnel, and it has a larger first stage with just the sheer number of people. So I think it's just a simple thing of money, which is kind of unfortunate. And that said, it's almost definitely the case that Red Dead Online does bring in a decent bit of money.
Yeah, otherwise
it's just probably minuscule in comparison to GTA.
Yeah, and obviously if you're gonna take the same amount of staff to make $1 billion or $100 million, you're going to make the $1 billion decision every time, as long as that's like a viable decision. And that's even the case where, like, going on down here, there's like people's talking about Rockstar don't seem to even plan a next gen version of Red Dead 2.
Crazy.
Which is completely insane because that game was like 44 million copies. That says everything. It's sold so much, you could easily say, oh, well, you just get another percentage of that from an upgrade version. You get to relive the entire, this is such an incredible game with a new marketing wave. But they're not seemingly, like, unlike Sony, and unlike Red Dead 2 when it was first kind of being made, it seems like they don't have that kind of desire for, we will make the blockbuster, the game that everyone buys, because they now see the GTA Online funnel and go, oh, we can make a lot more money with a lot less effort from this live service funnel thing. So I'm assuming they're just going to cut everything and try to build another one of those.
Could be that. It also could be the GTA 5 is struggling. Or sorry, 6. Right? It could be the development is nowhere near where they want it to be, and they are having to just completely cut shit down.
Yeah, well,
so that they could be very frustrated internally that they've had to make this call. But with whatever the publisher is demanding for GTA 6, maybe they're in a situation where they now feel like they're kind of forced to do this kind of thing, because they have been making very bizarre decisions lately, like the whole GTA remaster debacle. It seems like it could have been extremely easily avoided. You look at that and you're like, why did you plow forward with this? This makes no sense. Right? So that surely must speak to some sort of factor that maybe we can't exactly see externally. I don't know. It just seems illogical to me, unless I suppose you're in a world where you have absurdly limited development resources, or maybe you're struggling to hire, or the job market's really tight. It's a story we keep on seeing in games, of just like, hey, we need more people. But I don't know. It seems weird to me. Like I guess we'll get to the cancellations, because this is also the sad bit. This is one of the things I really would have liked to have seen, and that is that per a reliable source with accuracy on Rockstar plans, remasters of GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption 1 were on the table years ago, but Rockstar chose not to proceed. The poor reception of the Trilogy Definitive Edition might be a reason behind that decision. Which, if what this leaker is saying is true, is a bit weird. I would have always found it hard to have believed that Red Dead 1 and GTA 5 would have got the same treatment as those games. People may not be aware. Those remasters are the phone ports. They're based on the phone ports. which is probably just because the phone ports are maybe the most like recent, up-to-date version of that game that is the thing they can actually work on. But I think what people probably would have wanted to have seen is a way larger, more expensive project. Basically a like a Resident Evil remaster. I guess a remake.
Yeah, that's the thing that's where you fall kind of foul of the same thing of because those are single player games without the additional monetization, then you're making more single player games. So you either get through them cheaply and easily, like they tried to do with the trilogy, and ultimately failed, or you go to the lengths that Capcom have with Resident Evil. And if you're struggling with GTA 6, because it's probably the most ambitious game project probably of all time. If you think about like trying to follow up 165 billion sales and GTA Online, I'm sure they are genuinely terrified of even the concept of trying to strike twice with that.
Yeah,
so,
I guess we have no idea what the scope of that game is, and it could be larger than people expect.
I'm assuming it is absolutely like an unholy size. It's the only thing that makes sense for me, considering how GTA 5 actually itself is, compared to 4 and compared to the ones before that. Those are gigantic games with it. Like a level of scope that's hard to comprehend. And obviously that resulted in a lot of crunch and stuff for Rockstar to make it happen. But obviously like they will want to do 5 but bigger. 165 million sales, we want 300 million next time. That's unrealistic, but we're GTA. We can do it. It's a Rockstar name you've got there. You can make this happen. Because, I mean, it's not even like GTA 5 was a fluke. It was big, but everything else has been pretty solid standard. Red Dead Redemption, GTA, just exceptional franchises. So you could see how they'd have this incredible scope. And they're like, well, sorry, we don't have the resources to also make a good 4 remake or a good RDR1 remake or even deport RDR2 to next gen.
Yeah, you could have an artist working on Red Dead 1 assets, or you could have them working in GTA 6. And I guess the other thing too, GTA 6 is going to be, we assume, I say next gen, I suppose it is current gen. It's going to be PS5 and co only, right? So I think that means that the actual ceiling on what they could do with a game like that is extremely high. Right?
Absolutely.
So if this is going to come out let's be real, mid to late in this console generation, perhaps, then, I mean, you compare GTA 4 to GTA 5 on that gen and the difference.
Yeah, and that was 5 years.
Yeah, so I have a feeling that whatever's going to go on here with this game could be just absolutely massive. Now, there's a few other odd things. So, they apparently were really happy with the financial performance of Definitive Edition. They said it significantly exceeded their commercial expectations. Now, maybe the project was a disaster or something like that, but even with that, that's quite odd. Maybe they just didn't like the bad press, but it's not like bad press has ever held them back, frankly. And, I mean, look, if it brings the dough in, right? Like, if it brings the dough in, I guess that's my point.
Yeah.
And that said, though, bad press is something they're about to get a little bit more of, though, because shutting down some mods. We've talked in the past on this channel about Rockstar being just super, Take-Two, being super hardcore on the modding thing. Well, Luke Ross is a modder, right? He builds VR mods for games that don't have native VR support. It's really cool stuff. I think the idea of like GTA 5 and VR for a lot of people, that's like, quite a cool thing.
A lot of people seem to agree too.
Yeah. Now he's got work in Elden Ring and Cyberpunk, which is just cool, right? Like, definitely not games I'd want to play in VR, but would you like to take a look around? I mean, sure, absolutely. But he's been contacted by Patreon, because obviously his mod work is not paid for, but people do donate a significant amount of money a month. And Patreon contacted him and said, sorry, we got a takedown notice for all your GTA, Red Dead, and Mafia stuff. So
I wonder.
Cool. He's, of course, had to comply with that request, taking the stuff down. And he said that basically for him, he was approaching on a good faith basis. Basically, what he does, it only translates to more customer satisfaction and more copies sold. I don't sell or host anything exploiting or repurposing their original IP and assets, and my mods only work if the user owns a legal copy of the original games. So, I mean, where are we in the legal situation?
It's really hard to actually know with this stuff specifically. That's kind of the point where they kind of just get to go, it's related to GTA 5. I'm sure there's a way around it in the kind of the same way there's like the reverse engineering kind of side that seems to get away with it. There's maybe like if he made a generic VR thing and said, hey, this works in a lot of games, and then never specifically pointed out GTA, maybe get away with it. But it is just difficult. I mean, it's just, if it says GTA on the website, they'll probably just have to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Have to get rid of it.
Well, I think we may have, well, I wouldn't say a reason, but so it's weird, right? We talked about this in the past. That was about the older GTA games like Vice City. Now, Strauss Zelnick actually commented on that, basically saying, in terms of takedowns, that they're flexible. That said, if the economy is threatened or if there's bad behavior, we know how to define that. Then we would issue a takedown notice. So basically, it's all about the money. If somebody puts Iron Man into GTA, obviously gives a shit about any of the IP or anything like that at that point, that happen.
Yep.
If it's maybe something a little bit less just free content in the game, maybe a bit more engineering focused, maybe a bit more translational or something, then maybe you get in trouble. Now, could it be the case that Rockstar have something VR planned? We do know that GTA San Andreas is coming to the Oculus Quest 2.
Yeah, so that's the fun thing where it's either this is like San Andreas is going to the Quest 2. This is a new leap forward in Rockstar and Take-Two supporting VR stuff. But considering it's a project that's been in the years by many, or in the works for many years, but Mark Zuckerberg is actually the one who said this back in 2021.
Huh.
So that might be more of a less a Rockstar-led project and more of a someone on Facebook's like, hey, game companies, can we get something for this to kind of sell our platform a little bit? So maybe that's it, where it's literally just, we now have a reason to take these modders down. Or, you know, someone searched GTA VR. Oh, that's not our product that's coming up. Fucking get it.
Yeah.
That's a thing where I would kind of expect that sort of behavior. It could also mean they do have plans for, like, the quietness over, like, the remakes and remasters is maybe just, we'll release something that's not a remaster. We'll just release something that's the game, but you can't play it in VR. Maybe as part of the Facebook integration with the Quest, or maybe it's like the PSVR 2. Maybe has something coming up there. But I don't feel like that would be a Rockstar-led thing, because that's a very niche. That's a very niche product that wouldn't sell very hard.
Yeah, it's like, again, going back to the money. You can see it with San Andreas because perhaps that's like a smaller little project that can be siloed off. And, you know, because it's just San Andreas, like, it doesn't have the expectations of a big live game or any of that stuff.
Yeah, maybe they handed it off to the Oculus people.
Yeah, and then they can just get a big stack of money from Meta.
Yep.
Whereas in this situation, if you're adding it to 5, that's like to add it, but then like actually add it well, maybe there's just like a higher bar there. So I don't really know. Point basically is, this feels needless and shitty. It's something that people enjoyed in this game, and now they can't. And yeah, it just feels bad, basically. But hey, you're fine to put Iron Man in, so that, I don't know, the Marvel people will buy more shark cards.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I just love the idea of, modders, you're fine as long as you suit our purposes. As soon as you go even vaguely against our financial bottom line, you can just go get fucked. I really think that's such a kind of toxic way to kind of run your IP and your scene and all that. Hold your copyright, but clearly it doesn't matter when they're just like, yep, money.
Yeah, well, like, if mods are changing how the thing works, maybe that's a bit different, but if mods are just like free content,
yeah,
then, oh, what's that, free content in our game? Sure, why not?
Yeah,
I guess. Versus something could be, say, a reverse engineering project, where then the company could feel threatened. So, basically, that's the situation. TLDR, GTA 6, everything's on to GTA 6, while GTA 5, the online, keeps the whole thing going. Big stack of money. They probably are scoping a game that is hard to comprehend in its scope, basically. I imagine that's what they're doing. And, of course, with whatever the online component is, like if it's a GTA Online 2,
yeah,
I mean, whatever that is, could be kind of mind-boggling, because they know how big, like, no, I don't want to say that GTA Online was an accident, but it was unproven when they did it. And now that it's proven itself, they can justify doing just crazy scope things for the next one.
Yeah, and they have just so much possibility in that live service realm was open since that accident happened in 2013. Effectively, there's and also like the difficulty of replicating that success is going to be really hard to overstate, because that was a flash in the pan. Well, I suppose flash in the pan is not the right term, but it stuck around. It was they struck gold, they struck oil,
Yeah.
basically. So it was brutal to see. But I just had a really weird thought, and this is just out of nowhere. But I was thinking about GTA 6 and the amount of money they must have spent in it, because obviously it's been, well, Red Dead 2 and stuff, but GTA 5 was 2013, which is almost 9 years ago now. So they're going to come out and they're going to start the marketing with GTA 6. They're going to start marketing as the first $1 billion game project.
Yeah, I guess
You can
so.
imagine it, right?
I guess so.
I was looking at the most expensive ones here, and in terms of total cost with inflation, it's like Cyberpunk, Modern Warfare 2, Final Fantasy 7 are the ones that are reported at the like 100 to 200 to 300 range. So it's like they're just going to come out and go, the first $1 billion game is the biggest game of all time. We spent all of our money on this. Please buy it. Please buy it. Please buy it. Christ alive.
Yeah. Either way, don't hold your breath. It's going to be a long-ass time.
Yep.
So that's the situation. Right. There's other videos on the channel. Go check them out. That's you now up to date on the Rockstar situation, and we'll see you next time.